My name's Connie Gross, and I'm an infant and early childhood mental health consultant for the Children's Resource Center in Bowling Green, Ohio. And today I just want to do a quick overview of the ACE study outcomes. This is part 4 in our series, Childhood Adversity. So before we dive into this information, I need to say that this part is heavy. These negative health outcomes are scary. And I just want to encourage you to keep watching. Parts 5 and 6, they're all about the hope and strategies, things we could do to mitigate some of these risks. So, having said that, we're just going to dive right in. If you've watched the beginning of this series, you know that the ACE study was a study conducted about adverse childhood events. And you might even call those traumatic events. Well, we're going to talk about a brief overview of how trauma affects the developing brain, and it does in a lot of ways. One way is that the developing brain might actually be smaller for children who've experienced trauma than children who have not. And that can be due to less cells or even broken connections. They also might have some emotional control problems, some difficulty learning, and even some behavioral control issues. That has a lot to do with their brain's inability to process emotions, and it can lead to behavior issues. They may struggle with learning because of a limited attention span and oftentimes lower creativity. And it can be difficult to form relationships because often children who struggle with these things are also impulsive and have some behavioral challenges. There's so much information about this, and you can follow the link below this image, or there's going to be a resource page at the end to learn more about how trauma affects the developing brain. We want to tie this information to what were the outcomes of the ACE study. And so we'll look at what some of those risk outcomes are. It's important to note that the study showed that the more risks, the more ACEs that a child had experienced, the higher risk they have potential for having. And some of those risk outcomes were behavioral, like drug abuse or alcoholism. And then there were some physical and mental health outcomes as well, like mental health issues, including higher rates of suicide or lung disease, heart disease, or cancer. This is not a fully inclusive list. If you would like to see the full list, you can go to the CDC's website or follow some of the resources on the following slide. Again, I know this feels kind of scary, and it's really important that we understand these negative health outcomes so that we can take action for our children and our communities. To learn more about what you could do and be a part of the solution, please watch part 5 and 6 of this series, Childhood Adversity. Here are some resources if you'd like more information on your own. And you can follow this series on our YouTube channel or with a lot of other videos about other social emotional wellness topics for young children, or follow us on Facebook where we give daily resources for caregivers. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful.